Okay, so you guys have sent in this review for No Gain, No Love.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, even just the title has me intrigued. A K-drama centered around a contract marriage. I am so there.
And from the looks of it, this one's bringing a whole lot more to the table. We're talking office rivalry, family secrets, and of course, you can't forget that enemies to lovers trope that K-dramas just love to play with.
Right, like where they start off practically at each other's throats,
Exactly.
only to realize, hey, maybe all that tension's got a little something something to do with some underlying romantic potential. It never gets old. But okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's back it up a bit and unpack this review.
Sounds like a plan. Now, the review wastes no time introducing us to our leading lady, Hae-young. And she is all about climbing that corporate ladder. Ambitious doesn't even begin to describe her. This is a woman who's willing to play the game, even if it means, say, maybe bending the rules a tad, or, jumping headfirst into a fake marriage to get ahead.
Oh, I'm already obsessed. Tell me she's got at least one totally infuriating rival at work.
Oh, absolutely. We've got An Bu-jae, your classic frustrating ex-boyfriend, and get this, he actually stole Hae-young's million-dollar idea. Can you believe the audacity?
Okay, see, this is the kind of stuff that would have me throwing popcorn at the screen. In a good way, of course, but hold on, I need some details here. How does this whole fake marriage scheme even come into play? Is this purely about Hae-young wanting to, like, one-up her ex, or is there more to the story?
Honestly, it's a little bit of both. So apparently, at Gigolby Education, where they both work, there's this unspoken rule. Single women need not apply for top-level positions. It's as bad as it sounds.
Wait, seriously? Okay, I knew K-dramas could get a little out there with the drama,
Right.
but that feels like something straight out of the headlines.
Right. And the rumor mill at Gulby, well, saying this ridiculous rule is a direct result of the chairman's own, shall we say, complicated past. Word on the street is a past infidelity has left him with a serious case of single women in power. No thank you.
Wow. The irony. So let me get this straight. Hae-young sees this whole fake marriage thing as a way to finally shatter that glass ceiling.
Bingo. Not only will it give her a real shot at the promotion she deserves, but hey, it's the perfect opportunity to stick it to her ex in the process. Talk about killing two birds with one stone.
Right. Who needs true love when you can have a corner office with your name on it, right? Okay, but let's talk about the other half of this whole charade. Kim Ji-wook, the groom-to-be. The review makes him sound like a total mystery. A part-timer at a convenience store. Not exactly the typical K-drama leading man material.
That's the thing. Hae-young isn't looking for a knight in shining armor. She wants someone average, unassuming, someone who will blend right in. Someone forgettable is the word the review uses. But get this. According to everything the review says, Ji-wook is anything but.
Oh, no. Please don't tell me he's secretly some ridiculously handsome cable heir. That's like a whole other level of K-drama trope I'm not prepared for.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think what makes this setup so interesting is this one tiny detail the review mentioned. Apparently, Ji-wook picked up on Hae-young's smoking habit. And yeah, he's not a fan. But here's the kicker. He still offers her a cigarette as like this gesture of understanding.
Okay, now that is fascinating. It's so small, but it just tells you so much about him, you know?
Exactly.
Like, look, I see you, and I'm not here to judge. I'm already getting this vibe that there's way more to him than meets the eye. But before we get totally sucked into their story, the review also mentioned a few other characters I'm dying to know more about. A web novelist who's got a thing for steamy romance, and a CEO facing down an arranged marriage. Where do I sign up?
Right. Like No Gain, No Love is giving us multiple relationship dramas for the price of one. So yeah, we've got Nam Jae-yeon, who just so happens to be Hae-young's foster sister and a crazy successful web novelist.
Love that.
And then there's Bak Gyu-hyun, the CEO of Golby. But here's the thing. His family is putting on the pressure. It's either get those sales numbers up
Uh-oh.
or get married. Their words, not mine.
The classic get married or else ultimatum. I can only imagine what that family's like. Oh, wait. Didn't the review mention something about Gyu-hyun's mother being a huge fan of Jaeyeon's novels?
Oh, they did. And not just any novels. Remember how I said Jaeyeon writes steamy romance?
This is too good. Oh, man, the awkward family gatherings practically write themselves. Okay, but before we go too far down the rabbit hole, let's rewind for a sec and unpack this whole foster family angle with Hae-young. We don't see that too often in K-dramas, and the review seemed to suggest it's a pretty big deal in her story.
Definitely. It's one of those details that just makes you want to know more. And it's interesting, right? Because the review kind of hints at this parallel between Hae-young and Ji-wook's pasts. It seems like he's got his own family baggage. His mom's been in a nursing home for a while now, which can't be easy.
Wow. So they've both got this shared understanding of what it means to deal with family stuff, even if it's not the picture-perfect kind. That's a powerful connection to build on right from the start.
Why?
Okay, I need to hear more. This is getting good. So we've got Hae-young, our ambitious go-getter, ready to take the plunge with this contract marriage. But what about Ji-wook? What makes him finally say yes to this whole crazy plan?
You know, it's funny. He actually turns her down flat when she first pitches this whole fake marriage thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he's not so easily convinced. Remember, he's seen Hae-young's past relationships kind of crash and burn, so he's definitely a bit wary, not exactly lining up to sign up for that kind of drama.
Yeah, I can't say I blame him, but something tells me there's got to be more to it.
Oh, there definitely is. The review mentions this really touching scene where Ji-wook overhears Hae-young talking about her mom. Her mom's health hasn't been great, and it sounds like it's getting worse.
Right.
And for Hae-young, getting married before things get even more difficult for her mom, well, it's really important to her.
That's heartbreaking. It really puts our whole motivation into perspective. It's not just about getting ahead at work anymore.
Right. It's about family and fulfilling a promise to her mom. And honestly, I think that's what gets to Ji-wook, seeing that vulnerable side of her.
Yeah, suddenly that tough exterior makes a lot more sense. There's a big heart under there. But okay, back to this whole forgettable groom idea. I have a feeling that plan kind of backfires, doesn't it?
Oh, big time. Remember how we were talking about Ji-wook maybe being a little too good looking for this whole charade? Well, let's just say that after a bit of a makeover,
Oh, no.
he is definitely turning heads. The review even calls him a stunner at one point.
See, this is why I love K-dramas. They know how to bring the drama, but they also know how to bring the eye candy.
Exactly. But I think this little twist is going to be a recipe for some serious comedic gold. Hae-young wanted someone who'd fade into the background, not steal her spotlight.
Right. Talk about a wrench in the plan. Oh, man, can you imagine her trying to downplay his looks to her coworkers?
Oh, I'm here for those office scenes. But also, I feel like this is where the whole enemies to lover thing really kicks into high gear. The more time they have to spend together pretending to be this perfect couple, the harder it's going to be to deny that there are some real sparks flying.
Exactly. Proximity is dangerous. And you've got to figure, seeing that vulnerable side of Hae-young, well, that's going to mean something to Ji-wook. Okay, but before we get too ahead of ourselves, you mentioned this whole candy girl and sunder thing earlier. Can you break that down a bit? For those of us who aren't fluent in K-drama, of course. Okay, now you're speaking my language.
So in the world of K-dramas, right, you've got your candy girls.
Yeah, okay.
These are your bright, bubbly, super optimistic female leads. And they're usually paired with your sunder male characters. These guys, they might seem cold and distant at first.
I'm with you.
But deep down, they've got hearts of gold. It's just hidden under layers of, aloofness. But what I find so interesting about Hae-young, she doesn't necessarily want a classic heartthrob, remember. She was looking for average, for forgettable. But then Ji-wook enters the scene, and suddenly, her carefully constructed plan, it's thrown for a loop.
It totally is. And don't even get me started on that whole smoking thing. There's no way that was just a random detail thrown in there, right?
Not a chance. It's actually really significant, especially in the context of Korean society.
How so?
Well, smoking, especially for women, it still carries a lot of stigma.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. So by showing Hae-young struggling with this habit, and more importantly, by showing Ji-wook reacting with kindness instead of judgment, it's like no gain, no love, is tackling a real social issue head on.
Exactly. And it's suggesting that, hey, even in the high-stakes world of cutthroat careers and contract marriages, there's always room for empathy, for understanding. And that, my friend, adds a whole other layer of depth to this story.
It does. It's like they're saying that even amidst all the chaos and drama, those small, genuine moments, those are the ones that really matter. And hey, those moments can happen anywhere, right? Even between two people who are just pretending to be in love.
Right, which leads to the big question. Will this fake relationship maybe turn into something real? Can they keep up the charade forever, especially with Ji-wook turning out to be, well, not so forgettable after all?
I am on the edge of my seat. I have a feeling their story's going to be anything but predictable. And based on what we've seen in this review, no gain, no love is going above and beyond just checking off those classic K-drama tropes.
I'm with you 100%. It's got social commentary, complex family dynamics, and the characters, they already feel so real, so relatable. This show's going to stay with you.
That's like that saying, right? The best stories, they don't just entertain you, they make you feel something, they make you think.
Bingo. And I think it's safe to say No Gain, No Love is checking all those boxes.
Well, consider me officially hooked. This one's going straight to the top of my watch list.
Mine too?
And for all you listeners out there, if you're looking for your next K-drama obsession, this might just be it. This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. Until next time, happy watching, everyone.